Why leftists hate gay white men more than they hate straight white men. There's a lot of misconceptions about the left's bigotry towards countless demographics of people, which is not only seemingly limitless, but never fails to exhibit itself publicly and unapologetically. They claim to stick up for the disadvantaged while simultaneously gleefully mocking disadvantaged people for their hardships very regularly. The standardly advertised hatred of a particular gender, skin color, and sexuality has always been towards straight white men. The motive for this is rather simple. Due to white people being a mathematical majority in Western nations, the men of this demographic end up owning the most wealth and having the most power, and therefore straight white men are the enemy of the little guys that the left claims to speak for. From there, people make similar claims and then run with them, branching out towards attacking all males, including black males, all white people, including women, and of course, gay white men have been taking a lot of heat from the left in recent years, especially, which I talk about very regularly. It's at this point that we start to realize that the left isn't sticking up for the actual little guys by any means, but rather it seemingly seeks to subvert the dominant wealth and power structures of Western nations as their primary motivation because their attacks become undeniably inconsistent. Yes, it is true that white men do dominate business and politics due to their majority status and status as males, which leads them to be far more likely to work in high-powered positions as they take less time off of work and are more likely to exist than minority demographics. Though it should be of note that even white men are suffering as compared to white women on average by basically every tangible statistical metric available. But due to brevity's sake, I won't get into much specifics around that. What's important is that the left spends a dramatically disproportionate amount of time attacking people for being members of allegedly privileged groups due to what basically boils down to guilt by association regarding immutable traits that people might share in common with other people who might be prosperous or sitting in positions of relative privilege as compared to actually helping out the disadvantaged. Thus, when it gets to the point that gay white men are getting attacked, they get attacked first because they are white men, which places them at a close proximity to straight white men, who are the dominant establishment of wealth holders and political power, despite faring rather poorly statistically, being that they are male. But even further than that, gay white men have a few more reasons to fear the current incarnation of the left. Those are due to the left's seeming inseparable ties to feminism, which has eclipsed anti-racism as the centerpiece of leftist principles. This means that gay men, despite being even more statistically disadvantaged than straight white men by almost every statistical metric available, compared to basically anybody besides trans women, are devalued for our lack of contribution to the supposed greater good, which is feminism, and because of our lack of loyalty or adherence to the ideology of feminism. You see, gay men have no intrinsic predisposition towards helping women financially, or really even with feminist social issues, as most gay men are largely entirely disinterested in pleasing women in any serious capacity. And so, if gay men are well informed about where exactly the feminist budget goes, where money allocated towards feminist lobbied gender-specific social services goes, and if gay men are given the chance to think long and hard about things like state-funded late-term abortions, gay men have no reason to support feminism in any way. Combine that with the fact that if gay men were to step out of line and go against feminist politics, we cannot be seduced into romantic obedience by women, nor easily blackmailed by women regarding allegations of sexual misconduct, then it becomes clear just how much of an inconvenience to the feminist agenda we might start to look like. And remember, a lot of us are white men as well. Lastly, add the fact that gay men prove immediately, without a shadow of a doubt, that the feminist worldview that revolves around patriarchy theory is completely bogus, as patriarchy theory states that all men collude either consciously or subconsciously to oppress all women to benefit all males, which makes no sense when applied to gay men. So, after all of that, you begin to realize that our very sexual desires themselves must either be denied as a reality by feminists, who would like to say that gay men basically don't exist and that we're only gay because we think vaginas are disgusting, or they start demonizing our sexual desires as some form of misogyny in order for feminists to even maintain their own reality of being oppressed by the patriarchy in their own heads. Thus, the left, being almost exclusively feminist at the moment, hates gay white men even more than their publicly advertised adversary, which is straight white men, because while gay white men are a dramatic minority and very tangibly disadvantaged in society, we are still possibly a bigger threat to subverting the feminist agenda, because we are of no use to feminist women financially or politically. We are uncontrollable, and we prove with our sexual habits that feminists lie about men's alleged premise of oppressing women at all times. That all said, I've heard that feminists would only be a fraction as powerful as they are today if it weren't for the fact that we lost an entire generation of gay men to AIDS. And I say that it's about time that gay men of today start showing them exactly why that's been said. No, I'm not right-wing, I just know a problem when I see one.